Welcome to the Startempire Wire Founders Podcast, where we make entrepreneurial founders a top priority. Each episode features risk takers, business builders, community shapers, institutional and government supporters in our local startup ecosystem. Tune in weekly to hear all about what's happening with the movers and the shakers of Southern California's Inland Empire and beyond. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Founders Podcast. We are here for another Founder Podcast, and we have a founder named Zane, who is local, and he is in Chino. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Zane, and what are you founding?
Sure. So my name is Zane Landin. I'm currently in California. As you said, I just graduated from Cal Poly Pomona with a Bachelor of Science in Communication and Public Relations, which very much aligns with what I founded, which is a digital magazine that features the voices of representation of mental health and underrepresentation in general. But we always try and bring in the element of mental health. And so we've been able to feature an array of people who maybe they're in medical school, people who do light healing. We got into the spirituality space a little bit. So we got to feature people who are mediums, very interesting stuff, very interesting narratives, but we're always trying to bring it back to can you be inspired to make a change in your life in a positive way, hence the name Positive Vibes Magazine. And I really started in May of 2020 when the pandemic was fresh, when it first started. I thought that the pandemic was a really good opportunity to shine a light on mental health, because I feel like that was what was actually bringing people together in a way. Even though we were isolated and behind screens, I feel like a lot of people were experiencing mental health more than some people ever have before. And I think that was really important. It was a good time to tell the story of mental health because it was like an equalizer at this point. Right. But unfortunately, the mainstream media did not talk about mental health. They talked about, the dire effects of COVID, which I think was really important. But I think that they had this huge opportunity to tell the stories of mental health, and it's unfortunate they didn't. And even though it was something people were experiencing a lot, but it's not a huge surprise because before there wasn't much representation, and today there isn't that much. So I think there's a long ways to go when it comes to media and mental health, but I think what's incredibly important if we're going to start driving some change around mental health stigma.
All right, so you got this idea as a college student. Tell me about it. When did you first? Well, before we go there, tell us a little bit about where you grew up, and what made you want to pursue the path of entrepreneurship.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Chino, California. I've been here forever. I've never moved. I haven't really traveled that much either. It's a goal of mine. But so as I said, I'm a recent graduate of Cal Poly Pomona. That I started the magazine 2 years ago, May 2020, and actually at the time I was taking a copy editing class, or copywriting, and we just learned about how to polish articles. And the final project was we needed to create our own publication, and the professor had a list of articles that we were supposed to consider for the publication. So I wanted to start like a publication on urban legends and horror stories. I thought that was really
that would have been cool too.
That would have been interesting, but the magazine had to be completely nonfiction. So I was like, I don't know if the professor was going to buy that. So I decided to take a 180 and decide something like positivity and wellness, because again, I just thought that was what I needed for myself personally, and I was hoping to help other people who are experiencing these thoughts and reaffirm that they're not alone. And so that's actually where I was inspired to create it, and I decided to just take it to the next level and just start something that I knew. So I knew social media, so I was like, I'll just start a small Instagram page, and that's that's literally how it started, just a very small Instagram page. And then, but why I decided to go into entrepreneurship, like I said, I kind of just fell into it. And what's funny was I was actually working on my campus in their student innovation idea labs. So they're all about helping people facilitate their startups.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have all these workshops on startup culture and startups and negotiating your salary, and they have 3D printers to actually prototype your
That's
products.
Pretty cool. No, that's pretty cool.
I love it. And so I was working there at the time, and so I was learning about entrepreneurship, and I was always fascinated by it, but I never thought it would be something that I would want to pursue myself. But until I kind of got hit with an idea that I was passionate about, because when I thought of entrepreneurship, I always thought it was the tech, the products, and I never thought it was the storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's what I was always passionate about. So that's just what I ran with that. So yeah, that's kind of like how it all started.
So it is fascinating that a lot of people think about tech, because tech is big, in the entrepreneurship space, right? Like the most well-known startups are going to be these high growth tech startups. So with Startempire, while we really like to look at the whole scene of startups and entrepreneurs, and that really does include not only startups that are mom and pops, brick and mortar. They're not fashioned in the route of certain startups that can accept this, venture capital, but they're still startups. So my question to you, let's just get a little bit more in depth, talk about the needs that Positive Vibes Magazine, that's what it's called, right?
Yes.
The needs you guys meet. What are those needs you feel like you're meeting? Let's talk a little bit in depth about that.
I think the needs that we are meeting and fulfilling are bringing light to those raw conversations. I think that there are people talking about mental health, but we want to bring it to a broader conversation, because there are people who talk about mental health, but it's still like a niche of people that are doing that. And so for us, even people that have reached out to us that want to be interviewed that maybe don't specialize in mental health, we ask them. And everyone has a story with it. So I think that that's what we're showing, is that mental health is a story for everyone, and everyone literally experiences mental health. Not everyone experiences mental health conditions. Yeah. But everyone does have mental health. And I think that that's what we are doing. We're trying to talk about these honest conversations, and we talk about other stuff too, because it depends on other people's work. But people have brought up different issues of violence, of homelessness, of being in gangs. So a lot of things that have impacted their life and their mental health, and it's all about how they're transforming their life from where they were before to where they were now.
To where they are now.
And to see that transformation we're trying to inspire audiences that, if these people can do it, doesn't mean you can do it that way, but try and take something from them and apply it to your life and to your mental health. So I think that's what we're doing. Just trying to have, like I said, those raw, unfiltered conversations. Right.
So, is there any other person in your realm that's doing something similar to what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing there are many platforms that are doing this. Like Power Positivity is one of my favorite.
Okay.
They're a huge platform. They've been around for many years. The difference is even though they spread tons of messages of positivity, and they actually have articles on their website, but they don't really do interviews. They may do video interviews, but they don't do interviews like we do. We are trying to be definitely original in that area, but there's definitely positive platforms, but we're trying to bring more of the human element, not just the quotes and stuff, but the actual human experience of it by doing interviews and sharing stories that way.
Have you ever heard of Humans of New York?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of that platform?
Oh, I've always loved the Humans platform, because, also I love that, you're bringing the stories alive that aren't like just the famous people, this is just a random person, and any random person has just a fascinating story. I love that. That's the whole point of what we're doing. We're not going to the streets of like New York and doing that. That's honestly an interesting idea, though.
Or LA.
Stories of LA would be super fun. But I always love those stories, because it's like people have such like enriching histories. Yeah. And we just don't hear about those stories. And and to see like a platform bringing light to just the everyday person. And
is that kind of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, that's what definitely we're trying to do.
Okay. Cool. So tell us, you began the startup during the lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
The Inland Empire startup ecosystem industry is tremendously fragmented. A few top-tier hubs, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, are well covered by media, events, and data platforms. Finding reliable information relevant to startups or the tech industry in the Inland Empire is extremely difficult. As a result, startups can't scale fast enough, Investors are having a hard time finding the right deals, and corporates can't find the right companies to partner with for their innovation activities. Startempire Wire, the leading Inland Empire startup publication, is providing the Inland Empire startup ecosystem with the most accurate, engaging business and financial data, events, and news. Our reach of entrepreneurs, C-level executives, angels, VC investors, startup employees, key management at innovative corporates, and big tech is the solution for your B2B or B2C needs. As we build out our platform, we're looking for partners. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground level. If you're looking to align yourself with the local and growing startup and tech ecosystem of the Inland Empire, we have created the platform to get your name noticed and the opportunity for you to grow the recognition of your brand. Contact us today for availability and pricing options. We look forward to our partnership with you. All right, so tell us about, how you've grown from when you first started to where you are now.
Oh gosh, so again, we started with this small Instagram account, just posting like little postings here and there about positivity, different things, like about spirituality as well, like different things that I think people needed. One of the things that we did was we were just very active and engaging with different accounts. That's what we were doing all the time. And so every day I would type in a hashtag. If it was hashtag wellness, go to the recent posts and like every post.
Oh, the like trick, all right?
The like trick, that's what we were doing.
That's smart.
Yeah, and we were leaving comments, and that helped a lot. Like sometimes we would get like 200-300 followers just by doing that in one day. So that actually is really effective. Yeah. And also, again, we were putting things out. We put in, at that time when we first started, we did create a small website, and then we published 2 articles on general mental health. First one we wrote was creative writing and mental health, and my friend wrote something about like why it's okay to see a therapist. And then one day on the Instagram, we had someone reach out that wanted to be interviewed. David Gardner. Yeah, his name is David Gardner. He experienced death at a very young age.
Wow.
A lot of death, like not just one person. So, and now he's like a life coach, and he's just doing really, really amazing work. And so he reached out, and I feel like that was the point where things changed, because we thought we would just be writing articles, about different topics. And so he reached out, and I was like, and I had my friend interview him, and it went well, and we released it. And then since then, it was kind of like a ripple effect. And then people reached out, and then people were seeing the need for it. And then we had started having PR firms reach out. And saying that, we would like our clients. We've probably worked with like 30 to 40 publicists or public relation firms, which helps us find people, and it helps them get their clients coverage. And so that helps a lot. And these people are, some of them are really big influencers, and they bring their network to us as well. That's true. So I think that is like the main thing that has helped us grow, is just featuring, again, just powerful stories. And people are seeing the authenticity. And I think that's what people are drawn to nowadays when it comes to influencers and social media accounts. I think a lot of people are a little over the embellishment. People want to see the authenticity, I think nowadays that's definitely needed.
Yeah, no, you're right. People need to see the real, and they can easily sniff out, something that's like, oh, it's kind of fake, So yeah, absolutely, man. So tell us a little bit more about like maybe some growing pains you've experienced.
Oh yeah, of course. As I mentioned before, like it's not just me, like I have a team, and I didn't know what to do, because like we were having people reach out, and I was like, I can't take every interview. And my friend can't take every interview, because we were still in school and we both were working as well. So this was something we were doing on the side. And so even though it definitely took a stronghold of my life, it was still something on the side, because school was really important. And so I decided to like research, how do I find people to support this? And so I decided to put like an internship posting on LinkedIn, and
nice.
I was surprised with how many responses we got. We got like around 200 people apply. But I wanted to make sure we had people who 200
people.
Yeah, so many people. It's like I don't know what, and we didn't do paid. This was a free LinkedIn posting.
That's great.
Yeah, we had a lot of people apply. And so that was really exciting to see. But we did not like interview 200 people, and I didn't even filter through 200 people myself. What I did was in the internship posting itself, you could apply through LinkedIn, but I said at the bottom of the post, if you're interested, send us your resume to this email. And so we got around 20 people who submitted resumes. So I was like, that's kind of like what I wanted. I wanted to see who would read the instructions.
Pay attention. Who would pay attention to the actual post, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people just kind of did the quick apply on LinkedIn.
The auto apply. Yeah. I know about that. Yes.
Yeah. So I
had a good trick. That's a good trick to do too.
Like, yeah, you said it was a good trick. Yeah, I wasn't trying to trick people, but I was just trying to see who would be actually genuinely interested. So,
well, I mean, when I say trick, I don't mean like you're deceiving them. It's more of a filter. It's that you're filtering out people who pay attention. So, and they pay attention to details. So you're not deceiving them. You're just looking for the people who are paying attention to detail. And you prioritize those people because they pay attention to detail.
Yeah. So we did interview with the people who did submit something. So
okay.
I'm trying to remember. It was like 20 or 30 though. And, we had an Excel sheet of everyone. We had I asked for the resume and, writing samples to see, what their writing was like. But we were going to accept a lot of people because we also want to mentor young writers as well. Because her and I had experience in writing. So I just wanted to see what they were capable of writing. It doesn't matter if they were like a beginner, if they were an expert, because we had like one person who was like going for their PhD. So we had like people from so many levels.
That's
and
great.
It was a great team dynamic in my opinion. And so like a roadblock was I didn't know what to do with the program because it first started and it was completely virtual. So I was like, I was like, how do I engage everyone here? How do I engage? And I tried to be as flexible as possible by doing team meetings, and I would do it Saturdays and Sundays, and it would be like office hours. It was a little much, and it didn't work out. And so there's a lot
with so many people. Yeah, it was quite a bit, huh?
Yeah. So what we did was I just said, okay, I'll just do a regular team meeting on Sundays at this time, and we've done that for like almost like the past year and a half.
So with the team meetings, those are like the volunteers who come onto the team meetings with you, and how many do you guys have like currently?
Right now we have like five dedicated ones that have been around for like a whole year.
They've been around writing for you the whole year.
Yeah, some of them have been around for a while. No, it's great. No, like I tell them every team meeting, I tell them how grateful I am that they're supporting us, and again, this is an unpaid opportunity, but that they're so dedicated to what we're doing, and they help. They're the reason this is moving forward, and I appreciate everything they do for us. And I love just getting their work out there. Like when we released the article, I'm like, I'm so excited to see like their work out there. They can add to their portfolio and use it for whatever they need.
Yes.
And I just love developing the relationships with them. It was so exciting.
So your editor, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say like one of the volunteers actually wrote a blog about me actually, which I did not expect.
That's cool.
She started her own blog and she wrote about how you can find like kindness through strangers. And
that's great.
And she's referring to me as a stranger, not in a bad way, but it's like we don't. You
didn't know her. Yeah, you didn't know her beforehand.
And she's from a different country. She's also not from the United States. So we have people that are from different countries. And so she just said like, there was a time in her life where she was like going through a lot, and I was always there to talk to her if she needed it. Like we would text, and I always said like, she was always like apologetic when she couldn't get something done. I was always like, do not worry about it. Like, please don't. Like,
this is volunteer.
This is it's volunteering. And for one, this is a mental health platform. So
right.
You need to be that's why I'm understanding if you're going through a lot in your life. And again, if we have to release something a month or two later, it's completely fine because, as long as the story gets out there, it's good. I'm not super stressed on, when we need to release. And also most people are gracious and that we're putting their story out there. There have been some that have been like, that have reached out a lot. They're like, is it going to be released soon? So when those happen, I'm like, okay, we got to release.
So they're excited to see the story come out, huh?
Yeah, there are people that have that really want it out there. So those, I'm like, okay, let's get those out there fast. But there are some that, we don't release it for months, and that's fine. And we let them know when we interview them, like, we may not get this out for a while because,
no pressure.
No pressure. So yeah,
that's great.
And that was kind of a roadblock because, or like like what you said, like
growing
the
pain.
growing pains. I didn't know where to do with that. I've led my own teams on different things at school, but like I've never created my own team from scratch and
Great.
And created a program. And yeah, I even helped one of the interns get actual college credit for her internship. So, it's
that's great. So that's you're kind of learning by doing that editorial process. You're learning by doing, which is, kind of like that's I would consider that entrepreneur on the grind, out there working and getting it done. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's actually funny you say that because Cal Poly's motto is learn by doing.
Learn by doing, really? I didn't know that.
See? I don't know if it is anymore. I think they changed it, but it was when I first started there. That was their motto, and that was it for a while.
That's a good motto. Yeah. I like it. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because now I know where to go find some good entrepreneurial students. I'm not going to say Cal Poly Pomona is the only place with good entrepreneurial students. They're in all universities. So. Oh no,
definitely. But there's also, again, like I said, Cal Poly has the Student Innovation Idea Labs, and I think that's a great thing. It's so cool they do that.
Yeah. All right. So give us 2 of your short-term goals, immediate goals that you are currently focused on accomplishing with Positive Vibes Magazine.
Oh gosh, 2 short goals. I mean,
2 short-term. Immediate.
2 short-term goals that are immediate, as in like the next couple months.
Yeah. Like it could be the next week, next couple of months, but not too much further out.
Okay, I think that like in the next 5 to 6 months, I want us to at least reach over 100 features. Okay. Right now we're around 80. So I actually anticipate getting it. I feel like we're gonna get that sooner because we try and release something once a week. Okay. So we always try and release an article once a week. We have like almost 80 features now, and I'm really excited to get to 100. And another immediate goal is just to reach that 20K. Try to get the 20K.
20, yeah, you're doing way better than me on Instagram. We got 400, but you're using some
really
good
hard.
Huh?
Social media is really difficult to navigate, and for us, we just had to figure out what our niche was. And our niche was, well, it's kind of weird. It doesn't really sound like a niche though, does it? Because like for us, it was positivity and wellness. That's a huge universe.
That is huge. That's huge.
But still, I still think that even though it is, it's still a niche. I know it doesn't sound like it is, but it still is, because there's still not too much about mental health out there. I see a lot more movement now, but it's still kind of a small community. Okay.
All right. So give us your future goals, and we're going to talk about long-term. Where do you see Positive Vibe Magazines in Positive Vibe Magazine, Vibes Magazine, in 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years?
10 years.
Start with 3. Start with 3.
Okay, 3.
3 years. 3 years.
Wow. In 3 years, I'm really hoping. Well, for one, I want it to be monetized. That's one thing that I didn't mention. It's not monetized, and that's something that I would want to, because as much as I think it's great when people are volunteers and they do the work from their heart, you just have more bandwidth and flexibility when you're getting paid, because you're able.
It's got to be a business,
Right, and
so you want to turn it into a real business, basically.
And I've done like 1 or 2 pitch competitions. Didn't win.
Yeah,
it was still a good experience, and so that's like one thing I'm really excited about. I don't know. I'm looking into how to do that, if it's with ads, or people buying slots on the website, or we feature stuff on the Instagram that people pay for. But I have made some money from the magazine, so that's been actually not a lot, but
that's good. Well, I'm telling you, like with the audience you built on Instagram, I mean, you could already start charging for posts or something like that if you want to do ads. I mean, especially if you got engagement and high engagement rate. If you have like 0 engagement, sometimes that could indicate dead followership. You know what I mean? But if you got like big engagement, like 35, 40 comments per post, that's big engagement. I mean, excluding your replies. So 35, 40 comments excluding your replies shows you got good engagement. So if you can get your engagement rate high on your Instagram timeline, because I used to run an account that was like 38,000, and we had engagement that was crazy through the roof. We just kind of started Startempire Wire's account, and we haven't focused on it like the whole time, but it's going to come a time for me really soon to start really pushing out and focusing on the Instagram account. Right now, mostly it's for us, it's the website, YouTube, LinkedIn, and not as much. We post on Instagram, but not as much. Our 5 years. What do you see yourself in 5 years?
Like I said, that was before. I would love to have a documentary series.
Docu-series.
Something similar that we're doing here, just on the big screen. Having these honest conversations in where they're from, like, going to them and really filming what they're experiencing and talking about mental health in a open and honest way, but also bringing in those underrepresented stories, like, people who are doing, who are helping ex-addicts, who are helping stuff like that, people who are doing hard work, and we don't see how hard it is on TV. Right. Sometimes it's a little glamorized, sometimes they make it look a little easy. Let's talk about things that are really hard. Like, we've done segments on people who are in gangs, people who have been sexually assaulted. Really hard stuff to talk about, but it needs to be talked about, because I think talking about it, and this stuff is always going to be hard and traumatic, but if we can talk about it openly, there's more of a supportive community, and maybe it won't be as hard as you talk about it, or maybe someone will resonate with it and it may inspire them to make a change in their life. So whatever it is, that's something might go in 5 years. That's
about 5 years. I mean, I'm telling you, like, some media is very powerful, especially if it's going to be addressing mental health. You can do some really awesome stuff there, especially with docu-series. Those things are great. So what about 10 years?
10 years. My goal for 10 years is I would love for there to be a news channel, actually, called the Positive Vibes News Channel, or just, or like PVM, Positive Vibes News Channel, or something like that, where it's all about talking about mental health news.
Nice.
And that would be it. And that could be possible soon, not from us, but I would love it if the mainstream media adopted that. If the mainstream media, like CNN or Fox News or whatever, had like an hour segment where they're talking about mental health for just an hour, and they bring on guests that have their PhDs, that do research, that have these lived experiences. Gosh, we would see so much change if people started seeing positive coverage in the news about mental health. Right. So that actually could happen. I don't think the mainstream media is ready to embrace it yet, but in 10 years, I would love for there to be, like, again, the Positive News Network. That would be so exciting, because it would be about just sharing inspirational news, and also, mental health news, and also bringing on guests that have these experiences that can affirm, because we can say so much. We can even read articles, like we can share articles and stuff, or share, different events going on. But, when you bring in someone that has that expertise and is willing to share that they were suicidal on live TV, I think you can see things change, and I would love to see that in 10 years.
Like people who have overcome certain difficulties, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so finally, please tell us where people can find you or your startup, or both, on the internet. Where can they go to encounter Positive Vibes Magazine, Zane Landin, all of the above?
Yeah, so Zane Landin, that's basically my handles for all my personal stuff on LinkedIn and Instagram mostly. And on the magazine, we actually do also have LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Positive Vibes Magazine on LinkedIn and YouTube, and then Instagram, it's Positive Vibes Mag, so it's like the abbreviated, and the website is positivevibesmag.com. And yes, please check us out.
Check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time, Zane. We appreciate you for coming on to the Founders Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and check out all of the media that Zane is putting out through Positive Vibes Magazine. If you're someone who is in need of what he's talking about, you're going to find some great stuff at his magazine. Thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, tune back in. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Please like and follow us here at Startempire Wire. Peace.